Usyk and Tyson Fury. Do you see the fight going any differently this time around?
Yes, I do. Yeah. Yes, I do. Just by knowing certain facts that Tyson was going through, but it doesn't mean that Usyk is going to come in with everything. He's going to be better. He's going to be faster, wiser, tougher. He's going to know how to handle Tyson because of the first fight and the confidence he has. But I think Fury, his head's going to be there for once, okay? We didn't know what happened, the tragic news that took place. Oh my, you know what that does to a fighter? And let's not talk about the heart that Tyson has. To go in the, anybody would have canceled. Tyson goes up there and fights Usyk, unbelievable. So I really see this fight as a 50-50 fight, but I have to give Tyson Fury the edge.
He's a gypsy king. He does what he wants, bro. If that's going to make him happy, that's it. But you see, we are outside. We judge. Oh, you can't talk, you can't do this, you can't do this. Everybody wanted to be our shine. Do you understand? I personally believe that he knows what to do for himself, and he will do the right decision.
What happens in that rematch on December 21st?
I think Alexander wins it. Because I think Alexander wins it this time. We're more stylish.
It's going to be a tough fight for both guys. It's going to be mentally tough. It's going to be physically tough. They're going to push each other on the mental basis far. They're going to push each other physically far. Both guys want to win this fight. Oleksandr Usyk hasn't lost a fight. And, you know, he wants to keep that going. He wants to be the heavyweight that hasn't lost a fight. So both guys want something from this, and it's going to be a mental challenge and a physical challenge.
Lennox, I spoke to Michael Mora this week in Hamburg, and his prediction is very bold. He says Oleksandr Usyk will stop Tyson Fury in the 10th round.
Wow.
What do you think of that prediction, and what's your prediction for the fight?
I think it's going to be a banger. It's going to be a banger. It's going to be a serious fight. You know, after the first fight, I actually went and watched my Evander Holyfield fight. And I was like, what's different about our fight compared to Tyson Fury, Oleksandr Usyk? And let me tell you the difference. The difference is one guy was more serious than the other guy. You could say Tyson Fury lost that fight and Usyk won it. Now it's a situation where they're having another fight. Tyson Fury has to win that fight. So he's going to be more focused. He's going to put a little bit more weight on to get through this fight, and he's a lot more serious.
Should people be favoring like Fury or Usyk? Like, who would you consider like the better natural boxer in this?
They both have great boxing. You know, Usyk is a mover. He's hard to hit, and he knows what to do. He goes in there, he'll punch. He's with you for a second, then he's out of range. So it's a tit for tat. You know. Both guys are going to be using their brains, their ring intelligence, their ring IQ. Tyson Fury, he's got the size, 6'9". He moves well. He needs to get that jab going. I like Tyson with a little bit more weight. Maybe he'll come in with more weight this time. He's always a good fighter, even with weight on. And with weight, he can push the little guy back. He can put his weight on the little guy as well. There's a lot of different things that Tyson Fury can do to unhinge Oleksandr Usyk and make it a harder fight for him to win. I noticed that. I noticed that he get in with a couple of uppercuts. That's why when they said, "Oh well, if you fought Usyk, what would you do?" I would say, well, you know, I would throw a good uppercut because he's susceptible to uppercuts, and I throw a mean uppercut, and that's how I would definitely fight the fight.
Do you think he's vulnerable to the body?
Well, anybody that's vulnerable to the body, and everybody's saying it, usually goes back and works on the body and says, I make them think I'm vulnerable to the body. That's what I want them to think. Now my body's tough, and if they go to the body, I'm going to hit them at the same time.
Tyson Fury, Oleksandr Usyk, the rematch is coming up. Who do you have winning that fight?
Vai sair a revanche agora do Oleksandr Usyk e o Tyson Fury. Quem você acha que ganha essa luta?
Bom, não dá pra saber não. Acho que fica meio a meio ali. Não dá pra opinar não.
Hard to put an opinion. It's kind of half and a half.
Things have completely changed. I'm back. I'm ready to become champion again, man. This time without no drama, without anything out there. I'm ready.
What'd you make of Usyk and Fury?
I think that was an amazing fight. I was going for Usyk the whole time.
Thanks,
Thank
champ.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going for Usyk the whole time. Yeah.
Does the rematch look different in your opinion? Does Fury use his size? Because it did bother Usyk a little bit in the fight.
He did a little bit, but I think from him being lefty too, I think it kind of bothered him, you know. So I think Usyk. I'm hoping that Usyk wins again.
The rematch?
Yeah, in the rematch, because I would want to fight Usyk. I seen that he was here and all that. So.
Oleksandr Usyk versus Tyson Fury's rematch coming up in Saudi Arabia. Do you see that fight going any differently?
No. I think the smaller guy is really the big guy in heart and big guy in talent. I just think that, and I've been with Tyson Fury when he fought, most of the people he fought for is picking him to win. But I believe Usyk has his number, and I believe that he's not a big heavyweight, which I think helps him in this particular fight. And I just think he has the IQ that Tyson Fury won't be able to keep up and withstand as time or rounds go on. I just like Usyk possibly by stoppage late and not by a punch. I think it'd just be a mercy call by the referee.
Given the fight that's coming up next week, just quickly, Connor, your prediction, Usyk or Fury? Why?
I'm liking Fury at the moment. That just the way he seems to be taking the camp, the way his mindset is. Obviously, you know, after finding out what him and his family had went through during the fight week last time round, you sit there and you go, that you can't help but that have affected you. You can't help but that have played a massive factor into why he didn't come out with a victory. But no doubt he'll avenge that loss.
Do you see the fight between Oleksandr Usyk and Tyson Fury going any differently for the rematch?
I think it really depends on Fury's condition. I think the first 6 rounds we got to see a Fury that he was untouched. It was like Muhammad Ali, you know, moving around, making him slip. And then I think the Usyk just sort of created his game plan to switch on more in the later rounds. So it really depends on his conditioning.
The heavyweight rematch, Usyk and Fury. I know you're going to do a very detailed breakdown that you alluded to me. I know you're going to like it. Yeah. But for you know, the people out there that are maybe not sure how it's going to play out, if it's going to play out much like the first one, what do you think?
Hey, shout out to my boy Chris Algieri. He uses this expression all the time. And I don't think he said this about Fury, but he may have. But I'm going to use his expression. I think it's Tyson Fury's fight to lose. And what I mean by that, what we could see in the first fight, he was bigger, he was stronger, he was sharper from the outside. A lot of things than Usyk. I think he had a moment where he got complacent, and he paid for it by losing the fight. You know, he lost the whole second half of the fight, including the knockdown, of course. So I think it's his fight to lose. What I mean by that is I think that he's going to come in the ring with everything he had in the first fight, and I think he's going to be a little bit more focused than he was in the first fight. That moment doesn't happen in the first fight. I don't think that tide changes, and so I don't think that moment will happen in this second fight. However, the thing I cannot ignore is two things: the greatness of Oleksandr Usyk and the wars and the mileage on Tyson Fury. So while I think that, again, it's Tyson's fight to lose, and I think he's bigger, he's longer, he's sharper, the list goes on. That mileage is something that we can't measure, and the greatness of Oleksandr Usyk, we can't measure that either. So I think the first fight we knew was 50-50. It really was a 50-50 fight. Same thing with the second one, but I'm willing to bet that Tyson Fury wins this one.
Yeah, so the first fight, people were saying, Fury's too big, he's too long, he's going to wear down an Usyk that's been struggling. When you say struggling, not he's winning the fights, but he's getting touched more as opposed to the other weight class. Yeah, Usyk. And people were saying, like, maybe struggling is the wrong word. Maybe it's costing him more to be at heavyweight. And he's getting more damage because these guys are bigger now. Like,
What what's the expression that we use? You got to take one to give one.
Yeah.
So like that's kind of the thing for Usyk, because he's a smaller heavyweight. He takes one, but he gives 3 and 4. He takes one and he gives 3, 4, 5. Then he goes a while without taking one. You're right. He does here and there get caught, but I mean, it's part of the game. That's number one. And then number two, again, he's a smaller guy in the weight class, so he's kind of had to put his neck out there a little bit more.
Is he any different than when you fought him in the amateurs?
What? I want to see the film. You don't
remember?
Of course I do, but I mean, we did 4 2-minute rounds. It's not much to measure. He was great. He had a amateur Olympic style when we boxed. He was a very thin, 165-pound, about 6 foot southpaw. So. I like to tell a story. It was close the whole way. We were point system. Just so much different. But I did catch him with a big right hand in the last round, and I think that's ultimately what won me the fight. So
the Fury-Usyk fight. It's another occasion with everything on the line. Are you excited for that fight? Where do you see it going this time around?
I am excited. It's hard to really ever bet against Usyk. I feel like
You okay?
Yeah.
Turkey's coming in behind.
I feel like it would be great for boxing for Fury to win, just to see a big trilogy. It keeps it exciting, but it's very, very hard to bet against Usyk.
The first fight was so good that the rematch is going to be as good or even better. I think it's a 50-50 fight. Even though Usyk pulled it off, it was still very tough for him. He had, it was an easy fight. So I think the rematch, if Tyson comes out maybe a little bit more better prepared, or maybe a little different game plan, he might even pull it off. So it's a fight that I wouldn't be surprised if we see three fights, a trilogy.
I think he does. I think Usyk is. He convinced me. Prior to this fight, I was not fully convinced. I had picked Fury to win, but after his performance, I think he wins the rematch again. I think he wins again. After his performance, he convinced me that he is, one of the very, very top fighters of these years, and he proved it. And I think he's gonna get the win again.
How does the fight go, in your opinion, this second time around?
The fight go, oh my goodness. I'm hoping that Tyson Fury somehow finds a way to make the fight more challenging. If so, we might be able to see a third trilogy. Either way, I'm happy. My expectations is that Usyk is going to find a way to win again.
How does that play out in the fight? Like, what type of fight do we see if you expect Usyk to win? Is it similar to the first fight, or do you think it's a completely different fight this time around?
I would believe that it's a similar fight to the first fight. Usyk's agility and speed is just a little bit too much for this giant man named Tyson Fury.
Given that if Usyk does pull out the win against Fury, do you think there's anyone else at heavyweight that could challenge him or potentially beat him?
No. At that point, Usyk is undisputed and cannot be beat at the heavyweight division.
The Fury-Usyk rematch, what's different? Why does Tyson win this second time around?
He'll be fitter, he'll be heavier, he'll be more conditioned. People forget that he had a cut going into the second fight. Not the second fight, the rearranged fight from the first time. And he couldn't spar. So, naturally, no, he did some moving around with some lighter guys and cruiserweights and light heavies, but he couldn't really spar. And so your concentration is not going to be what it should be. Your condition is not going to be what it should be. Even, your punch resistance is not going to be what it should be. So all those things will improve, and so in doing so, he will improve. And the first fight was close anyway. Usyk will improve. He'll get better. He'll have learned some things from the first fight. But I don't think he can improve or change as much as Tyson can improve and change. So yeah, all going well. Tyson wins the rematch. He's got to train hard now, which he is, and get the injury free, no cuts, and do his job.
We almost pulled it off. I felt like he was on his way to stopping Usyk in that fight. I just felt Usyk was getting tired. The weight, the pressure, the activity.
It was close even in the end, and up to round 9, Tyson was boxing well and really comfortable. But as I said, he probably got too comfortable, and one lapse of concentration. That comes from not being in condition, not having sparring. You pay the price when you take a punch you don't see. But look at the kind of courage and strength he showed to get through that round and then come back and win rounds going down the stretch. So it's a great fight again. It was a great fight the first time, a great spectacle, and the second one's going to be even better.
I feel like Fury has the tools to beat him. You know, I feel like he can beat him. He just needs to perform better and prepare a bit better. But you know, I'm not doubting him. I think he's a great fighter. But if he comes the same way he did last time, he's going to lose. You know, Usyk will get the win again. So we just got to wait and see what happens.
That's a tough one. I mean, Tyson Fury was on top of the world for such a long time. He's kind of like stumbled a little bit, but Usyk is so good at what he does. He's got that raw power. I'm probably going to lean with Usyk in the rematch as well, but I think it's going to be closer this time around.
What do you think went wrong the first time around for Tyson?
I mean, I feel like as a fighter or in any combat sport, when you've been doing this for so long, where you've been winning for so long, there can be a little bit of a tendency to be complacent, or kind of you lose that love or that hunger for competing or to win, and maybe that kind of affected him a little bit. I know he had some issues going on in the home life, so maybe that kind of really, I don't know, played a part, but only he's going to really know that, but we can only speculate.
How do you see Usyk versus Fury? Who do you favor in that? Do you think Fury adjusts and wins, or do you see Usyk winning again?
Yo pienso que Usyk va a ganar otra vez. Pienso que pues es más joven, ha estado más activo, pues ganó la última pelea, viene con toda esa confianza, pero la verdad que también va a ser una pelea muy emocionante.
Well, I think that Usyk will win again. He's younger, he's more active. He won the last fight, so he's coming with that confidence. But without a doubt, it's going to be an exciting fight.
I think Fury was doing a great fight the first time. I just think he got overconfident. That's something that Fury has shown over his last fights. He got overconfident with Deontay Wilder, all three of the fights, and he almost lost in all of them because, he's an entertainer. I'm a big fan of Tyson Fury, big fan of him. And I do expect him to win this fight. I do see him becoming victorious. Yeah, I'm rooting for Tyson Fury because I'm a fan of him. Might be a little bit biased on that side, but I do see him, winning the fight. I do think he's got what it takes to win the fight. But everything could be said and done and work on the gym, but you got to bring that mindset in the gym. That applies for him, applies to me, it applies to all of us as fighters. You can have the best instructions inside the ring, but at the end of the day, who's inside the ring is the fighter. So it's how you educate your style inside that ring is what makes you win the fights. So do I see a possibility? I see a big possibility to Tyson winning. So yeah, I'm winning. I'm willing to bet $10 on Tyson.
Not like those Jake Paul bets, right? The $1 million bets.
I'm not a big bettor. I like small bets.
So you mentioned if he's more focused, doesn't clown around, he doesn't get clipped with the shot that he got clipped in that first fight. Do you see it more or less maybe the same type of fight that we saw in the first fight with Fury controlling the early parts, and if he focuses, he controls the full fight?
That's exactly how I see it. That's exactly how I can see it can happen. But at the end of the day, you're talking about also Usyk. Usyk is an amazing fighter. I'm also a fan of Usyk, but if I had to pick those two, I'm rooting for Tyson Fury. But Usyk is a beast. You're talking about an Olympian, gold medalist. You're talking about a fighter who's been there, who's done that. So who knows? It could apply the other way around. Usyk did also learn something and apply it. But like I said, maybe it's because I'm a bit biased in this one. rooting for Tyson Fury. And I visualize him winning the fight.
Is it just because you're a fan of his, or like are you guys
That's
friends outside the ring, or?
I've never met him. I've never met him. I just enjoy seeing him fight. I just enjoy seeing him fight. It's impressive to see that big of a fighter and have those boxing skills, defense, reflex, and those lanky arms. And I think one of my favorite fights would have to be him and Deontay Wilder. Screaming at TV. Now, who's my favorite heavyweight right now? I'm rooting with Andy Ruiz. It's my guy. It's a good friend of mine. But we're talking about those two fighters right now, Usyk and Fury. So, yeah, it's mostly because of that. Because I just like his boxing style.
Who wins in the rematch?
如果有二番战，他俩你觉得谁会赢？
有二番战的话，我估计还是武奇哥会赢。
Same result. I believe that Usyk he's able to using his boxing skill, his ring IQ, skill play is stable, and he's a great warrior.
有弱点，两个人基本上都非常完美。可能说大家都知道武奇哥的弱点，可能说受不了欺负拳，但是这场比赛，泰森弗里也打出了很多欺负拳，但是没有对武奇哥造成太大的威胁。
I think it's a perfect fight, perfect fighters. I don't have anything bad to say about it. People always say Usyk can take a body shot, he is weak, but when you see Tyson Fury landing a few body shots on Usyk, he really made it. He really made it through. So I only have good things to say about these two fighters.
Disputed rematch between Tyson Fury and Oleksandr Usyk. First off, how do you see the fight going this time around?
I think there's going to be more of a decisive win for Oleksandr Usyk because being a southpaw, you always have that advantage. But most people try to go back and spar with southpaws and try to, mimic their styles and stuff. It's not going to work. Oleksandr Usyk is too smart of a fighter. Too smart. And Tyson Fury is a hell of a fighter also. I'm not taking anything away from him. It's just that I'm going to stick with my southpaw, And I think Oleksandr Usyk will probably knock Tyson Fury out this time because Tyson Fury will get a little bit braver. Once he becomes a little bit braver, he's going to become vulnerable because he's going to leave himself open. That's what I think.
Given your knowledge, how do you see the knockout happening for Usyk in this rematch?
I just see that it'll hurt him, and then he'll come in and throw probably 6-7 more punches, and the ref will stop it instead of Tyson going down and getting hurt. And I'm not taking anything away from Tyson. It's just I'm a southpaw, and I like Oleksandr Usyk.
I had a feeling that you would be a fan of his style, and just also too, Usyk's a smaller guy moving up in weight as well, and you have that in common as well.
Well, being that he's a smaller guy, he likes to take on a bigger guy because he knows how to box. Being a great boxer like that, he knows how to outbox, and once he outboxes him, then somebody's going to say, well, he tried to run and do this. It's about being smart and fighting smart. And maybe he'll fight smarter and he'll win. We'll see what happens.
If Usyk is victorious in this rematch, is there anyone else that you see in the heavyweight division that could give him problems, that could beat him potentially?
Well, the way I see it, it all depends on the night. If you have a good night, if you have a bad night. But you have to keep that going the whole night. And I just think that may the best man win. May the best man win. That's all I can say about it.
I think, I don't know, in the first fight I was like, it's so hard to back against them both because they're just both blokes who know how to win and they'll find a way. But with Usyk coming out on top, I'll edge towards him in the second fight. Fury's got to make a few adjustments and he can make them, and no result would really surprise me. But yeah, I'll still go with Usyk.
How do you think Fury can win? And it's no surprise whoever does get that second victory. He obviously was close to it. He had a good start and then he got rocked. How do you think Fury can adjust himself going into the rematch?
Yeah, I mean, he's very good at Usyk's very good at keeping you mentally engaged the whole time, and Fury is usually that. You got to stay switched on. You got to stay consistent. He's got to be busy and doesn't need to try with his shots because he's got the weight behind him. He doesn't really ever look like he's forcing work and stuff, but it'll be small adjustments that he needs to make. Do you know what I mean? And but then obviously Usyk's one of those fighters who will adjust during the fight as well. So a great fight though. You know, the first one was a great fight, and yeah, really looking forward to the second one.
I love that fight. Usyk's one of my favorite. I love Tyson as well. What he does, being undersized like that, he's special. I'm sure Tyson Fury trained a lot harder this time. It should be a great matchup. When you got two heavyweights like that, hit as hard as they do, you know, one punch can change the game. So I don't know who's going to win.
In your opinion, what do you think went wrong the first time for Tyson?
Maybe he took him lightly. I don't know. Maybe he just flat out got his butt whooped. You know, it's that simple.
Got to fight my man, haven't I? Me, fucking rabbit. And I'm going to take all my belts back once again. Guarantee you.
Minus the IBF.
Yeah, I'll get that back as well after. When I fight Usyk in December and beat him, I'll reign all the belts that I should never have lost. And then I'll fight the Dubois and take that off him as well.
That's your plan?
Yeah, that's my plan.
How was that interaction seeing Usyk again, Tyson, ringside?
Nobody, my man.
How was it seeing Usyk again ringside? What you guys talk
Usyk's a
about?
good guy, and he is what he is. He's an ugly rabbit still. He's always going to be an ugly rabbit because he's an ugly bastard. But I'll see him on the 21st.